The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Variety Channel. For more information about our network and to check out additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericavariety.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the hosts or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to Crime Prevention 101. We're so happy you joined us this week. Over the next hour, you'll learn the tips, tricks, and vital information that will help you keep yourself confident and safe. Now, here's your host, Susan Bartelstone.
Well, it's crime prevention time once again. And in case you're not sure where you are, this is the Personal Safety Radio Show with an optimistic perspective on a sober subject. I'm your host, Susan Bartelstone, and I'm delighted that you are with me today because there's pretty much nothing else on this earth that I love as much as spending time with you, addressing your personal safety concerns and helping you keep yourself safe. Now, I thought that since April 18 through 24 is National Crime Victims' Rights Week and also National Victims of Crime Awareness Week, and oh my God, could they have made the title any longer, that I'd like to do a straight-up crime prevention topic for the show today. So first up, I'll be talking about ways to protect yourself from home invasions with security expert Jordan Frankel, and he's got some great tips for you. And he's the inventor of some really interesting safety products. And then next we're going to talk about school security, which is really important for those of you who have children in school. You're not going to want to miss this. And we'll be speaking with my buddy and former guest, personal security specialist Cheryl Watterson, whose multi-talented background includes more than 20 years of experience working for the largest security alarm company in the world. And then last but not least, we'll round out the show with some great high and low-tech and inexpensive security products to tell you about. We're going to start our show off, of course, with our true crime reporter, Tricia Griffith. I think I gave Tricia a new name here. Tricia Griffith from websleuths.com, which is the largest independently owned true crime forum on the net. And if you haven't been to Web Sleuths, you've got to check it out. And she's going to tell us what's hot on the forums this week. So without further ado, let me introduce Tricia Griffith. And hi, Tricia.
Hello. I like that. True Griffith.
Yeah.
Griffith. I like that.
Well, all of us amateur detectives out there really love this segment. I can't tell you.
Good. I am glad, and I want everybody to come to websleuths.com because one thing we want to stress, Susan, is that everybody's opinion matters, and you can help just by posting on websleuths.com. And let me briefly tell you why. Every week I get an email from somebody I don't even know who says, thank you for putting my loved one's name and picture up there, perhaps a missing person. It's good to know that somebody cares enough to just discuss the case. So if you don't think you can't make a difference, you are wrong, and your opinion matters. Don't let anybody else tell you anything differently. We want you at websleuths.com. We're going to talk about...
Oh, yes. I just want to tell you real quick. I just sent somebody to Web Sleuths that posted on my Facebook account. Someone missing from the family. It's been going on for years and years. No one's been paying any attention, and I just said you got to talk to Tricia Griffith from websleuths.com because they can help. They can start a thread for you about this. So
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And if you need a thread is where we start a discussion on a certain case. If you have a missing loved one that nobody is listening to you, we'll listen. And you know what? We can get the police to listen too. And that's the beauty of the power of when people come together. Susan, we're going to talk about a real creep today, James Rodney Alcala. He is a serial killer deluxe. Now,
I heard about him.
Yes, you've seen him. He had the long hair. Actually, I thought very good looking, unfortunately. And I'm looking at a timeline here, and this guy started in 1961 to 1964. He was an Army clerk, but he was discharged after a diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder. That means you're a real jerk and you can kill people and not feel anything about it. Also suffered a nervous breakdown before his discharge. Now, looking at Rodney's little timeline here, I'm seeing missing women and children from New York, from Seattle, from Los Angeles, from Arizona. He goes all over the place. He was recently just convicted of killing 5 women and sentenced to death. But here's the scary thing, okay? He operated all through the 60s and the 70s, and he was on the dating game. Okay?
Oh, no.
Yes, he was bachelor number 1. Now, even though he had a police record for brutally beating an 8-year-old girl, the dating game took him on. Now, of course, they didn't have the search power that we do now, and it would be difficult to do a background check, but you would think they would just check to see if they had a violent record. Fortunately, he was not picked. But get this, now in this episode, the woman asked, "What's your best time?" Bachelor number 1. And he's really good looking, and he's smiling, and Alcala says, "The best time is at nighttime." And, of course, that's when he did a lot of his killing. Now, this jerk did something that several serial killers have done, and that is he lured women in with photography. Now, here comes the interesting, bizarre twist. Police have over 2,000 pictures that he stored in his storage locker, and there are hundreds of pictures of women that they can't find. And so we've got those pictures on Web Sleuth. And they have found, let me just say, they have found many of them, and many of them are still alive, which is, thank goodness. In fact, one woman, she's a psychiatrist now, she opened up the newspaper, and there's her picture associated with a serial killer. And, of course, she was very upset. And apparently she had him take some pictures of her, but nothing happened. Nothing came of it. But still very terrifying because she could have been one of his victims. Anyway, we encourage people to come on to Web Sleuth. It is in our missing forum. You can come and take a look at these pictures. Now, a lot of them are very old. That's the problem, because they're pictures of very young girls from the 70s. And it's hard to see, sometimes it's hard to recognize people from that long ago. But come on to websleuth.com and take a look. But now let me tell you about this guy, Susan. He was convicted twice of brutally killing an 8-year-old girl, and 2 times it was overturned by the California Supreme Court.
Unbelievable.
It was technicalities. It wasn't like the evidence was made up, he was framed. It was all stupid technicality stuff. And before they could, get him again, he went on the dating game. So anyway, that just goes to show you, ladies, you've got to watch who you go out with, because these sociopaths are very, very charming. And I'm telling you, if some guy wants to take your picture on your first date, be very wary of that. That's weird, okay? That's just very strange. You don't want to...
I don't even like them roaming around in parks and public places taking pictures. It makes me nervous now when they do that.
And it's unfortunate that that's the truth. But here's the scary thing, and if we just switch topics for just a moment. You go to any playground or any large area like a Disney World or something, you will see men taking pictures of children. And they put these on websites that, supposedly are not any sort of, sexual deviant website. It's just men who love small children. And there's nothing people can do about it because there's nothing illegal because it's in a public place. Now, they've tried to shut them down, and they have shut a lot of them down. But just be very careful. And I hate to say this with your, that you can't take your kids out. You can. Just be very careful. You have to keep an eagle eye out, Mom and Dad, and watch out for those perverts because they are there. And I don't know, Susan, if it's just because it's widely reported now where before 30 or 40 years ago it wasn't, or if we really are just producing more and more of these crazy, creepy people. Because, Susan, here's the key. I guarantee you, if you go back to Rodney's childhood, and I'm not trying to say, it's, poor baby, not at all. But you can prevent these people from being created because they all come from horribly abusive homes, and it's just a vicious cycle. Now, why do some people come from horribly abusive homes and grow up to be upstanding citizens? and other serial killers? Don't know. There may be a genetic component of that, Susan. But the thing is, it all starts with child abuse, every bit of it. So, again, here we go back to protecting the kids. If you know of a person abusing a child, report it, because you might be able to save that child from becoming a serial killer. But let me tell you, they develop early. They develop early. When a 6-year-old is killing animals and torturing them, you're in big trouble. And that's one of the big signs. But getting back to Rodney, he was very, very charming, Susan, and that is one of the first things that people notice about serial killers that are sociopaths like this. Ted Bundy, another one, very, very
right,
charming.
right. He was a good-looking dude.
Very good-looking man, and very, very charming. That's why women went with him.
Intelligent, bright, and
really
intelligent, good school, everything you'd want. Yeah,
exactly. And he shows up.
What kind of work did Alcala do? Did he have a good job, or what was he?
He was a photographer. He was a photographer.
That was his profession.
That was his profession. Yes, he was a photographer, and he, it's amazing how they get around. He's been all over, and they're looking everywhere he's been, and there's women missing. Now, he's from Seattle, and here's the thing. It's like there's something in the water in the Pacific Northwest.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. What's
going on out there?
I don't know. You have Ted Bundy, you have Alcala, and I could get on the Internet and find 5 more. In fact, they have an area from, Idaho, upper northern Idaho up through Oregon, up through Washington State, that they call Serial Killer Alley. And because that's where all the serial killers are from. And I don't know what it is. Ann Rule talked about it once, and this is the closest explanation I could come up with, was from Ann Rule, the true crime writer. And she said that the Pacific Northwest offers so much isolation that these children can be abused and can have all these weird things going on with them, like Ted Bundy. He thought his mother was his sister, and he didn't find out until later, till he was like 14, that his sister was really his mother, and his parents were really his grandparents, and they think that's kind of what kicked him into gear, part of what kicked him into gear. But Ann Rule said, it's always something. But Ann Rule said the Pacific Northwest offers such isolation that, and such, these men are alone with their thoughts and their demons, that somehow this isolation kicks in, and this is what happens. That was the best
Starbucks and serial killers. I don't know. Oh, my God.
It's awful.
Tricia, we've done it again.
No, we can't be out of time. We just started.
We are. We're going to have to pick this up again next week.
Okay.
So my wonderful audience, you've got to check out websleuth.com, the best true crime community out there. And I need you now to just stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be talking about home invasion and what you can do to prevent it with security and expert and product inventor Jordan Frankel.
Ask the experts. Call toll-free right now, 1-866-472-5787. And ask our All-Star team to answer your question. That's 1-866-472-5787.
Thank you for calling.
VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Are you ready to go green?
You've asked, and we've heard you.
Voice America presents the Green Talk Network. Environmental topics are at the forefront of our society, and the Green Talk Network is here to keep you up to date on the latest trends and innovations for the eco-conscious lifestyle. We'll help promote a variety of ideas on the environment, from global warming issues to how you can become more eco-friendly in your daily activities. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Visit the Green Talk Network page on voiceamerica.com and tune in to help spread the green.
Talk, talk, talk. That's all we do is talk. If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787.
That's it.
VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. Susan would like to remind you that no absolutes exist in a crime scenario, and no advice can possibly address every variable. Each situation should be evaluated individually and responded to in a way you instinctively judge best. It's Susan's aim on this show to provide you with the information and options that will help you make that instinctive assessment quickly and safely. And if you're already a survivor of the kind of crime we're talking about on the show today, or any other crime for that matter, please remember that there are no right or wrong responses in a criminal encounter, and nothing that happened to you was your fault. Even if you think you used bad judgment in a situation and left yourself vulnerable, that's never an excuse for a crime or for violence. So please, call yourself a survivor, not a victim, and understand that with time, distance, and the proper professional help, you can put what happened into perspective and get on with your life. If you'd like to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, send your comments to solutions@fightsafe.com, and Susan may address some of them on future shows. That email address again, solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101.
Hey, Susan Bartelstone here, and there's plenty of show left to tune in for, so please start tweeting about us. And don't forget that you can follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, and I have almost 3,000 friends, so I'd love to add you there. Now, let's go on and meet my next guest, Jordan Frankel from Global Security Experts, and we're going to talk about home invasion.
Good morning.
Hi, Jordan. Let me tell people all about you. Security products expert Jordan Frankel, the founder of Global Security Experts, Inc., says he honed his talents for safeguarding homeowners by using a combination of imagination, street smarts, and a passion for inventing that began in his teens. He's a frequent media guest. He advises clients throughout the world about security and home protection, and now he's going to be advising us. Hi, Jordan.
Good morning. How are you today, Susan?
Great. That's a very intriguing bio. You sort of been doing this since you were a wee lad.
It's true. I've been doing this since I'm a little tot almost.
All right.
My love of security started at 7 years old, which is, I guess, sort of strange.
Yeah, perhaps. Some might say. I'm not going to go there. But this is a very serious subject. So let's talk about home invasions. And first of all, I think we really need a bit of a clarification on what exactly we're talking about when we say home invasion.
Okay, first off, there really is no definition of a home invasion in terms of a dictionary or encyclopedia. But from my 20 years of experience, I can tell you that typically a home invasion involves violence, whereas a burglar comes during the day or night knowing that you are not home, and they will ransack the house, they will turn things upside down, attempting to find your valuables, jewelry, cash, whatever it may be. However, a home invader, they target you knowing that you are, in fact, home, that you are vulnerable, meaning that you're possibly there with your children watching television or sleeping in the middle of the night. They will usually kick down the door, and within a matter of moments, they will be standing over you in bed, and you'll be looking up at armed men. The reason for the... I'm sorry.
That's extremely important point to really emphasize. They know you're home. And they're doing this purposely. It wasn't an accident, I would say, in most 99% of the cases. They know you're there, and they have a reason for doing that. And they want to terrify you, correct?
Yes. I mean, the motive behind having the weapons and the guns is because they know with violence they'll be, they will have you lead directly to the cash or the jewelry. You become a human treasure map for them. They know if they injure your wife or your child, you'll take them right to what they want to. Whereas if you're not home, they have to ransack the whole house. There's a lot of time and exposure for them. But with violence and intimidation, you instantly take them to the valuables.
Exactly. So, that's really important to remember. And you've got some really interesting statistics on your site, and one of them is that 1 out of every 5 homes will experience a break-in or a violent home invasion. That's huge.
It is. It's a huge number, but, if you travel up and down the street in New York City and you have 5 different people, now not necessarily in Manhattan, I'm speaking of freestanding homes such as Long Island, Queens, wherever they may be, neighborhoods, you'll be surprised at the numbers. If it isn't 1 out of 5, 1 out of those 5 knows somebody that had a burglary or a home invasion. So the statistics are really staggering, and they're easily found at the FBI website.
Yeah, and that's honestly that really surprises me because I never even heard of. I'm really shocked about that. What we're going to talk about, the only home invasions that I know were not for robbery purposes. They were for other purposes. We're going to talk about that in a second. But you told me when we were speaking before that home invasions are on the rise, and that they are the most underreported crime in America. Now, why would that be?
Well, first off, for many, many years, the most underreported crime was the heinous act of rape, because we both know that it's psychologically scarring, and sometimes women do not come forward or they do much later. So that in itself changes statistics. However, home invasions, there is no category for it like rape or a burglary. It is lumped into a simple crime of mischief. It is lumped into a standard burglary. So when there's an act of violence and somebody is in fact injured, there is no separate category for a home invasion here in Atlanta, New York, or any other state for that matter. So there are no accurate stats on it. The only stats that people can find, including myself, that are somewhat accurate is from the news media by going to major search engines, and you can see it literally is an epidemic. I mean, just this week there was a home invasion in New York on Long Island. There were 2 in Atlanta, 1 in Chicago. It's happening almost every day.
Yeah, it's so interesting that it's really not. It's not exactly underreported, but there's no label for it, and that's wrong. That something ought to be done about that.
You're right, and I am a big advocate for having the general public go to their local congressman who can put pressure on the police departments and the state and local authorities to get that changed so those statistics could be made public.
I'll have to double check on that too, Jordan, because this may be just state by state, or maybe that's why the FBI statistics are not accurate on it, because maybe some states do and some states don't. So I don't even know what they do in New York, where I'm located.
Well, I can tell you they don't keep home invasion statistics in Suffolk or Nassau County. However, individual police departments, if they are, hypothetically an Oyster Bay Police Department in Long Island, which is a private small police department, they may in fact have their own statistics.
Okay.
But when you're talking about connected police departments that are state-ran or city-ran, there typically are no statistics for it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to look into it myself. Now, do we know who is most vulnerable to a home invasion? Do we have at least that kind of information?
Well, everybody is vulnerable. It doesn't matter if you're poor, black, white. It makes no difference if you're wealthy, the elite. They target anybody and everyone. Now, of course, women are targeted because, for an obvious reason, if you're a single woman, you're just that. You're single. You're living at home and you have nobody there with you. So they will target sometimes single women, knowing that, unfortunately, they can get into the house quickly through fear and intimidation. They can get out of the house quickly and get valuables. but sometimes the woman can be injured in some cases, and it's it's a very unfortunate circumstance.
Now, that's the incidence of home invasions that I'm most familiar with dealing in the personal safety field and crime prevention, because and on your website you say actually 38% of assaults and 60% of rapes occur during home invasions, and
correct.
It's not although rape is sometimes is quite often an aftermath. A lot of times it is the purpose for the home invasion. So, single women, I think, really do need to take special care in terms of protecting their homes. You'd agree, right?
You brought up a very good point, Susan, that a home invasion does not necessarily have to be an act of someone stealing valuables. It could be for the sole purpose of entering the home, unfortunately, to rape somebody.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's see. You got you've invented a couple of nice products, and I want to talk about that too, because I want people to have access to stuff. Let's do a couple of tips, one or two tips that you think are most important in terms of protecting the home. And you sent me a whole bunch of them. You know what I'm going to do, Jordan? I'm going to get this put up in a really good format, and we'll post it along with the show notes on my Crime Prevention 101 blog, so people will have the whole thing, and maybe you'll have them on. Do you have these also on your website?
We do have some, and in another 2 weeks we're going to have probably about another 4 different tips.
Good. All right. We're going to give your website. We're going to link to your website. Just one or two quickly, and then I want to talk about Shadow Guard and the On Guard residential door brace, which I think is a good idea.
Very, very important to light up your property. You want to make sure that you have lighting all around the perimeter of your house. It doesn't have to look like Shea Stadium. And you do want motion detectors. You do not want lights that are on all the time. By having a light that's on all the time, you're signaling to the home invader or the intruder that chances are you're not home. But with a motion detector light, as they scurry up your driveway behind trees and near your house, that light will go on. It will startle them, and they will not know if the light went on automatically or did you flick a switch inside your house because you saw or heard something. So it's very important to have motion detector lights.
All right, now you got to have a sturdy brace on your door or something. So, just real quick, what's the On Guard residential door brace?
Okay.
I like the idea of it.
Great. The On Guard brace is a 2-piece system. There is a plate that mounts to the floor of your home directly behind the interior side of your door, whether it be your front door or back door. And then there is a top piece that inserts into the bottom plate. By having those 2 pieces connected together, it makes your door virtually impenetrable. It's very, very difficult to get through, whether you're using a sledgehammer, kicking the door, using any kind of item to strike the door with. And it's very simplistic. It's made out of a polymer similar to a Kevlar or a bullet-resistant material. It's lightweight and incredibly strong, easy to use, and literally a homeowner can install it in under 7 minutes with a cordless drill.
And it's not expensive either.
Oh, no, it's under $100. It's when we did the focus groups for pricing, most people came in at $199. We priced it at $100 because we want to get the safety out there.
Terrific. All right, now windows, again, a big security risk. And talk a little bit about Shadow Guard glass, because I really like this idea.
Great. The other side of the home invasion is a burglary, where they come when you're not home. And typically, they won't kick the door in. Kicking the door in is used to scare you. It's a brazen act. They usually break the windows. They'll break a window on a door, side window, come into the house and steal things. With Shadow Guard, or more specifically our Burglar Guard product made by Shadow Guard, it's a clear mylar film that applies to the inside of the glass, and it makes your glass much more resilient, much more stronger. And it can take repeated strikes from a baseball bat, a rock, a tire iron. So, yes, eventually that window will break and it will spider web in terms of what it will look like, but it makes a lot of attention-getting noise, and the intruder will not stick around. They usually will flee the premises and on to the next house, or they leave the neighborhood.
And by the way, I've heard of it in home invasions also, where they will shatter glass and come in through the window. So I like that. All right, Jordan, I can't believe it. We're out of time, but I thank you so much for being with me. I really did learn a lot from you today. You can find out Thank you. And you can find out more information about Global Security Experts products and on their website, globalsecurityexperts.com. Now, coming up, we'll be talking about school security with my buddy, security specialist Cheryl Watterson, and this is really, really important if you have school-age kids. And then later on the show, I've got some more great security products that you should know about. So stay tuned.
News, opinion, passion. Your voice counts. Call toll-free 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787. VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
This is Crime Prevention 101. And thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget, we also have a website, crimeprevention101.com, where you can find out more information about show topics and my wonderful guests. And we're going to be talking to you today now. I'm going to introduce you to my next guest, Cheryl Watterson, and then we're going to be talking about some low-cost security products, very innovative ones that are coming up, so you're not going to want to miss this. And now, my next guest, Cheryl Watterson, this is an encore appearance for her. She was on me way back on my show, way back in the day when I first started. She has had 20 years experience as a residential security consultant with ADT, which is one of the largest alarm companies in the world, and she's designed more than 1,000 residential security systems, so she really knows what she's talking about when we talk about security. And she's now working with ADT designing school security systems. And I'm so eager to speak with her about this because this is such an important topic. And I know very little about this myself. So I'm learning just like you are. She's also a security blogger. And she's got 2 fantastic blog sites, Self-Defense with an Attitude, where she's got personal self-defense and safety for women information, and HomeSecurity911.com. That's her other blog. And she also hosts a radio show called Let's Talk Home Security, and it's on the Blog Talk Radio network. Hey, Cheryl.
Well, thank you, Susan. And it has been a real long time since we've spoken on the radio, but it sounds like you're doing a wonderful job of promoting safety and security to people all across the world. So thank you for inviting me, and let's talk about security. Let's talk about school security.
Definitely, because this is something we know that the Columbine shooting was 11 years ago this month, right?
Right.
So we've had the Virginia Tech, which is a college. We've got all these other things going on. We've had some near misses. This has brought school security in the forefront. And what are some of the problems that schools are facing regarding security?
I think Columbine started it to the forefront 11 years ago, but today, there's so much concern to parents and family members when they send their children off to school, that they're going to be safe. When we think of sending children off to school on the bus, we think they're going to a safe place. And, nearly half of the parents that were surveyed, for children in K through 8th grade, they're very, very concerned about security in schools. They're also concerned about sexual predators being abducted by strangers or even family members. So those are part of the concerns that parents have. But there's so much going on in schools that are bomb threats, fights, gang violence, school shootings, vandalism. visitor control. I mean, there's just a number of things that schools have to be concerned with to keep children safe.
This is amazing, and you sent me a whole list of stuff here. You got fire safety. You've got bullying, which I think I'm not sure we can put devices in against that, but it's sure you got violence against teachers and students. Right?
Well, on the bullying end of it, first of all, the administrators, they need to become a part of knowing what's going on within their schools and have best practices set up to take care of those. But with video cameras becoming more and more prevalent within our daily lives, and especially in schools, you're going to be able to see things like that happening maybe a lot quicker and be able to react and hopefully, one, know who was the cause of it, and two, catch it before it goes into a major catastrophe within a school. And you know how quickly those things erupt.
Oh, indeed. Now, is that one of the things that you're involved with in terms of school security? Are we going to actually, or do we now? I mean, that's been a long time since I've been in, school. So, do we now have cameras in schools?
Oh, cameras, I think, are probably one of the most important devices that schools are looking at, because they can't be everywhere. The administrators, the principals, the teachers, they can't be everywhere, but setting video surveillance cameras up in specific areas, they're going to be able to detect and see what is going on in places that maybe somebody wouldn't be, like in stairwells and locations throughout the school. So video cameras have really become one of the most important security equipments available. So I think that is definitely one important item that schools and authorities look at as being a viable part of the overall security.
I was thinking in terms of burglaries and break-ins, you'd certainly want security cameras on the perimeters and outside, and probably you'd want lights, like you would advise a homeowner to have, things like that. But and stairwells make sense. Is there any? I know you wouldn't put them in the bathroom, but would you put them in classrooms?
Well, I think there's some concern I think parents have about putting them in classrooms just because of privacy issues and things like that. But setting up a camera, generally we want to sit down with the administrators, the principal, the security directors, and find out what their major concerns are. What kind of security risk issues do they have? Granted, burglary, break-ins, theft, vandalism, those are very, very important aspects of the security. But knowing who is on your premises that shouldn't be there, strangers, predators, they all want to mingle their way into a school where they look at a school as probably being not quite as security conscious, maybe as a regular business or even in homes. So that's we're looking at the risk, the loss, the overall aspect of school security, and believe it or not, the overall risk assessment analysis, that's a vital part of the whole security review.
So is part of, now I know we talk about schools have to have a safety plan. Would that be part of what you do now, help them put together a safety plan?
Well, we look at, I would say that most schools have some kind of a security plan, and definitely if they don't, they should. Just like in your home, you want to have a security plan. You want to know what to do, what procedures, what responsibilities everybody has, and the security plan also would take a look at what type of protection, where, and how the overall plan is going to work to make sure that you provide the best security and safety for students, staff, and visitors to the school district.
Oh, absolutely. The more prepared that they are, and I think that the police also do a pretty good job in terms of helping them put together security plans as well. So what would be something else outside of the cameras and the lights that you might recommend to a school to keep it secure?
Well, you've got unauthorized access where people come to the school front entrance, and I believe in the majority of schools today, you can't just walk right into the school. Maybe in a small town, but most schools have video access, video entry, and before you can actually go throughout the school, most of them are going to have some kind of a visitor management system where they'll be able to identify and log in visitors, volunteers, employees, and people like that who really do have true access. And an excellent visitor management system will also cross-check any kind of criminal, sex offender, and maybe a watch list so that you don't let a perpetrator have free access to the schools. So that
I know. Yeah, because I know most schools now have security guards, and in New York, the scene of the crime where I am here, it's part of the police department in some places that these people that are stationed in the school in case of fights and things like that, and also to check who comes in and out. And big background.
Those are good resource officers to have in schools. But, Susan, with the budget cuts that schools are facing throughout the country, I mean, they are letting people go that they're part of the security package. And, you need to make sure that you keep the security and safety a main priority.
Yeah, really. I mean, budget cuts, inevitably, they're going to affect every aspect of running that school. But I don't know. Some might even argue that security should be paramount. I mean, you can't send children to a place that isn't secure anymore.
Well, I believe in most people that I've spoken with that they take security of their school and their school districts as being a prime target that they want to make sure. But with the budget cuts, they just have to make sure that they're getting the best type of equipment, the best type of services, and that's part of what ADT is involved with throughout the United States, is making sure that we stay involved with schools and communities and provide the best services and the best practices for the schools.
Absolutely. Anything else? We're kind of running up onto our break. So, anything else that is important that we may have not touched on?
Well, one of the things that with the various school campuses where they've had the shootings, an emergency notification alert system is something that we also provide to schools, because you can quickly notify students, staff members, parents of any kind of a disaster, whether it be weather, shootings, or whatever. And that is something that you want to be able to stay in touch with, via a broadcast on a cell phone, a pager, email, whatever form. But that is something that needs to be quick and reliable out to folks so that they know there's a problem. And with school districts, you might have 40,000, 50,000 people, students within a school district.
Oh, indeed. So, yeah, that's extremely important. A way, like you say, of notifying that there's the students that there's a problem, and maybe to lock down the classroom if you've got
absolutely
like, right,
yes.
Like a Columbine going on.
Yes.
All right. Well, Cheryl, now look, don't you go away.
I'm not.
All right? Come back with me right after this break. We're going to talk about some really innovative products that I want my wonderful audience to know about. And you can find out more about Cheryl and her radio show, letstalkhomesecurity.com. This is Crime Prevention 101. Do not touch that mouse.
Talk. That's all we do is talk.
Yeah!
If you'd like to talk, call us toll-free right now at 1-866-472-5787. 1-866-472-5787.
That's it.
VoiceAmerica.com. After more than 17 years' experience teaching safety skills to thousands of women and men, crime prevention and personal safety expert Susan Bartelstone concluded that by thinking and responding quickly, ideally within 20 seconds, potentially violent criminal encounters can be prevented. Using techniques from many different disciplines and illustrated by 60 real-life examples and success stories, Susan shows how it's done in her new book, Think Fast and Prevent a Violent Crime: How to Respond to Danger in 20 Seconds or Less. Check out www.crimeprevention101.com for more information.
Best Boomer Towns delivers the inside scoop on the best 21 places to relocate or retire in the U.S. Listen to columnists, town bloggers, and local residents as we highlight a town each week. Talk show host Nancy Shaka brings you the best and the brightest. As a baby boomer, you experience Beatlemania, Woodstock, Vietnam, and the women's movement. Today, you're educated, health-minded, and thinking about where to spend your future. Tune in at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern to Best Boomer Towns every Thursday on the Voice America Variety Channel and start planning the best rest of your life.
Ask the experts. Call toll-free right now, 1-866-472-5787. And ask our all-star team to answer your question. That's 1-866-472-5787.
Thank you for calling.
VoiceAmerica.com.
You're listening to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone. We invite you to share your stories, tips, or suggestions for topics you'd like us to cover, and Susan will address some of these on future shows. Send your story or idea to solutions@fightsafe.com. That email address again is solutions@fightsafe.com. Now, back to Crime Prevention 101 with Susan Bartelstone.
Hello there. Susan Bartelstone here. And I just want to remind you that Crime Prevention 101 is available on iTunes. You don't even have to be at your computer to listen. And I've got my guest, Cheryl Watterson, security expert, back with me. Cheryl, I found some really nice-looking products that people should know about in terms of personal safety and home security. And we've got a few callers as well. I just want to take just a second to mention that your own firm, Personal Security Solutions, in addition to providing seminars and things like that for people, you've also got a line of personal protection products like tasers and stun guns and pepper spray. So I want people to make sure people check that out. Do you still carry those wireless alarms for apartments? We talked about that a long time ago.
No, we don't. The only thing that is on the website they're just a small wireless security systems. I believe they're about $259. But that's something that someone would have to install themselves. That's not a professionally installed security system. If they wanted a professionally installed security system, they'd want to give ADT Security a call for that.
Sure. Well, that's if you got a home, but if you got an apartment and you're not going to be able to do that, I like the idea that we were talking about home invasions earlier in the show, so I like the idea that people have some options.
Yes.
Yeah,
and there are definitely lots of options out there, and I think your next guest coming up has an awesome product, security
Absolutely.
product.
We're gonna talk about that in 1 second. Two quick things I wanted to tell you about that you might want to know about. I found something called LoJack for laptops. Mm-hmm. And this is on www.absolute.com. So if somebody steals your laptop, you can track it, just like you can track it with a car.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I've heard of that.
Because I never did. It's some kind of a software thing that CompuTrace and they call it LoJack for laptops. So you computer files, and one of my really good friends just had her laptop stolen. Trust me, not a happy thing.
I would agree on that, but
yeah.
I don't know what the outcome is. You know, how much effort that you would have to put into that. Have you heard any additional feedback on that?
Honestly, no. I just thought it was something I just wanted to tell my audience about, because I sounded, knowing my friend, what she went through, if there's anything, I mean, I'm going to look into it for myself, because I do not want to lose my laptop. You know, that just is not in, you know, it's not going to happen. So,
right.
You know, so I thought that bears looking into it. My audience out there, if any of you got this product or you know about it, give me a holla and let me know how it worked.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear the feedback on that.
Yeah. And one other thing that somebody sent me, it's called text-lock.com. And it's a padlock that can be unlocked from your mobile phone. And this person said, I run my designer handbag business, and with TextLock, I can have my clients' orders collected and my supplies and products delivered to my TextLock secure box positioned by my front door even when I'm not there. So people can leave things and it will not get stolen. This is really good for you apartment people, I think also. So it bears looking into, and it's text-lock.com. Check that out if you got a business and you need to have stuff left for you, and you can use it, unlock it from your mobile phone. Pretty good.
That sounds
all right.
good.
We've got a caller coming in, and this is Robert. Are you there?
I most certainly am, yes.
Robert, you talk about strand DNA. And Robert, introduce yourself to my audience, please.
Yeah, hi. My name is Robert Simpson. I'm the managing director of an organisation called Strand DNA UK Limited. And we've been set up to provide a professional installations and databasing service concerning a new home invasion device. This is here in the UK at the moment, but we are looking for outlets on a global scale. Chain reaction DNA works on the same way as any other door security chains, except if an attempt to commit a home invasion is attempted when a system is activated. It will sound a high decibel screech alarm, but also cover the assailant in forensic stain, which is illuminated with UV technology.
I love that.
That is awesome. That is awesome home invasion protection.
Robert, if they try to get into the house, they are stained and it's traceable?
That's right, yes. It's traceable down to, I can't go into too much detail with regards to the technology incorporated into the devices, but what I can tell you is each canister or each alarm is totally unique to itself, and if you've got a maths diploma or an algebra diploma, it's 1 to the power of 49. So if you think of the number 1 and put 49 zeros after the end of it, we can actually trace that back to a particular stain registered at a particular door at a particular residential address. So we can actually say whether it was a back door, a front door, a patio door, or even a panic room. We can do internal applications as well. But the majority of our clients are, it's residential applications, and it's used on the front or the back door, and it's as a deterrent against home invasion. As I said, if an attempt to commit a home invasion is made, the system automatically sounds a high decibel screech alarm, drawing attention to the fact that you have a problem at that front door. But at the same time, it sprays the assailant with this unique DNA trace. Police in the United Kingdom have the tools in place to identify these stains with the uses of UV technology, which is an ultraviolet light. You've probably seen the same thing used on CSI. It shows up all sorts of bodily fluids, but at the same time it notifies a police officer or a scenes of crimes officer that a person has been in contact with one of our devices. When the device is actually stained, we can actually analyse that stain with a company called TraceTag, who are based in South Wales here in the UK. But they do have audited labs worldwide, with labs on the east and the west coast of America.
Robert, give us your website so people can get more information about this.
Yeah, the website is www.stranddna.co.uk, and that's with one D. It's a play on the words DNA, Strand. So it's strandna.co.uk, and the strap line is because you can never be sure who's on the other side of the door.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. I'm going to put a link to it in my show notes so everyone can get it from my crimeprevention101.com blog. Thank you so much for calling, Robert. I appreciate it very much.
No problems at all, Susan.
Okay, now I want to introduce you to Joe and Justin, and they are from Silent Bodyguard. Hi, guys. Thanks for calling in.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
Talk to me about Silent Bodyguard. What is it? This is amazing. I love it.
Well, Silent Bodyguard, it's a very simple app for your iPhone and soon for your BlackBerry. And what it is, it's a silent, secret panic button that you can activate, and when you install it on your phone, you tell it who your important emergency contacts are, your parents, your significant others, your roommates, your best friend, and when you press the button on Silent Bodyguard, it sends out, it gets the location from your phone, and it sends out via text message and via emails your location, and that you're in need of help. And every 60 seconds it sends out another email with the location. If you're moving, if you're in a car, etc., or if you're running, whatever the situation is, it updates that location and sends it out, and get some sort of message out there that you need help and approximately where you are.
And I love it. Oh. And this is a very famous inventor, correct?
Well, we have on our team Dr. Cliff Van Zandt, who's very well known. He's on the team that identified the Unabomber. He's a former FBI profiler.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of that type of work. He's on TV all over the place. He was just on Dr. Phil.
Absolutely.
He's one of our partners, prominent. And he's really given us this great.
That's how I heard about this.
Yeah.
All right, I want to direct everyone to livesecure.org, which is the website for Silent Bodyguard, and check out Protecting Children from Predators. It's Dr. Van Zandt's free DVD that you can get. Thank you for calling and being with me.
And just the easiest way to get the app itself, you can just search Silent Bodyguard in your app store, go to silentbodyguard.com, and that'll get you right to the app.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
Cheryl, thank you so much as well.
Thank you.
I'm putting links to all my guests on my Voice America host page and on my crimeprevention101.com website, so you will have links right there. Don't forget, April is also Sexual Assault Prevention Month, so if you didn't hear the show that I did on April 8th about what self-defense instructors are doing to change the world, please check it out in the archives. It's Child Abuse Awareness Month. If you didn't hear the show I did on April 15th about Aaron's Law and the proposed law to teach child abuse prevention in the schools, go back to the archives and catch that show. And that's a wrap for now, but never fear, because you and I will be doing this again next week, same time, same channel, when I'll have more stories that demand to be told, more hot crime topics, and, of course, lots of tips and resources for you. It'll be a crime not to listen, so stay tuned and stay safe.
We hope you got some useful information and inspiration this week on Crime Prevention 101. Susan Bartelstone invites you to join us again next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on Voice America. If you want to learn more about Susan's guest, sign up for her newsletter, or find out about upcoming teleseminars and workshops, go to www.crimeprevention101.com today. Have a great week and a safe week.